This time we're taking a look at the Vulcan expansion. It's the first one for the Vulcans. Nice to see that they got their own faction in this instead of sharing the Federation like they did with the HeroClix game. This ship comes from the Enterprise era, so it was before the Federation actually existed, so kind of gives it a reason for not sharing faction. So yeah, we'll get in and take a look at everything that came with it. And we have our dial for the Dacur class. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that too. I don't speak Vulcan, Romulan, any of those strange languages. Decent maneuverability. Nice to see it one reverse. Got some 2 90-degree turns in there. Tops out at a 4 forward. And there's a nice image of our Dacur class. If you notice, it's hard to tell in this picture, but up here there's a little like science module inside the ring, and it hangs down on the bottom. They put them upside down on the model. I'll show you that when I actually get to the model. There you can see our maneuverability. Doesn't have real tight range maneuvering, but it isn't a slouch either for being the size ship it is. One reverse is always nice to see. And those 90-degree turns, although they're all red, give it some tight maneuvering options if it needs them. Here we have our Dacur, the named one. It's unique. 3 attack, 1 agility, 5 hull, 4 shield. I really would have expected a science ship to have more shielding, but hey. We got 2 tech slots, which is nice, a weapon slot and a crew slot, 26 points. Evasive maneuver, target lock, scan, and battle stations. And our special ability is kind of a neat one here, is whenever you attack against an enemy at range 3, you get an extra attack die. So they still get their extra defense die, but it gives you a little bit of incentive to stay at range with the science ship. Onto our generic version, you're losing your 1 shield, and you lose 1 of your tech slots. Everything else is the same. For our captains, we have Sabal, who is unique. Captain skill is 7, 4 points. He has 1 elite talent slot. As an action, you can target a ship within range 1 to 2 and remove a scan or battle station token from beside that ship. It costs you an auxiliary power token to do it, but sometimes it's worth it to remove those battle station tokens. One interesting thing, and way to go whiz kids and their infinite wisdom, the captain's card says Captain Skill 7. The tokens that come with it say 6. As far as I know, the tokens are just used as reminders, so the cards will trump the tokens. So he has a skill of 7 regardless of what the tokens say. Way to go, WizKids. It's almost as good as putting them backwards on the Windjammer ship. Next captain we have is Tabak. He's his captain skill 3 for 2 points. And he adds an extra crew upgrade to your bar. And then we have our generic Vulcan Captain. For elite talent, we have Vulcan High Command. Not sure how I feel about this one. I can see its usefulness, but I don't like its hindrances as well, especially for a 5-point card. It gives you 2 extra upgrade slots on your bar for your ship. They can be either crew or tech. You can use any combination. It can only be purchased for a Vulcan Captain on a Vulcan ship, and if something happens to the captain and he's removed from your ship, you have to discard this upgrade and then discard upgrades until your ship meets its new requirements, since you lose the 2 slots. So very detrimental. Not sure I would use it, especially for 5 points. Just not worth getting those extra upgrades at the cost. For our crew upgrades, we have Murok. He's 4 points. As an action, you can discard him to target a ship at range 1 to 2, roll 2 attack dice. For every hit or crit, you get to disable an active shield on that ship. If the ship's cloaked, a hit will actually flip the cloak to its red side. Means I have to decloak next turn. And T'Pol, this is, I'm assuming, before she ended up on Enterprise. Actually, she was still a Vulcan member even when she was on Enterprise, so she's 3 points, and when defending, if you have a scan token beside your ship, you may spend that token to reroll up to 2 of your defense dice. Would have been nice to see T'Pol with a dual Vulcan/Federation faction. so that she could be used on the Enterprise NX-01 when it comes out. I'm sure it's going to come with another variant of her. Technically, she wasn't Federation faction. She was just on their ship, so maybe they could figure that into the points, but I'm sure there'll be another version of her with that ship anyway. For weapon upgrades, we have a photonic weapon, 3 points. It's 4 attack dice, range 2 to 3, requires a target lock and lets you reroll one of your blank results. Can be fired from the front or rear arc. Kinda the Vulcan version of a torpedo, I guess. At least that's the stats lead me to believe. Next up we have the aft particle beam. This one's kind of cool, and it's unique in the fact that it can only fire out of a rear arc. For a 1 point, you get a 3 die attack out of your rear arc. For you have to disable this, but you don't have to have a target lock for it. So with the ship's main primary weapon being a 3, it's giving you, at a cost of 1 point and disabling this, you can fire your primary out your rear. Useful. You don't get the range bonus because it is a secondary weapon, but definitely nice to be able to shoot out of the back. This ship has a wide arc of fire, which I'll get to when I get to the ship. Really interesting tech upgrade. I can see this being used in a lot of mixed tech fleets. Auxiliary control room. It's not unique either, which is kind of entertaining. For 3 points, at any time you can disable this card to remove an auxiliary power token from beside your ship. With things like the Borg missiles out there now that do give you auxiliary power tokens, the primary weapon on the bioships give you auxiliary power tokens. Lots of ways to pass out auxiliary power tokens. Having something like this that lets you remove them without the cost of an action so that you can still take your normal actions is definitely nice to have. Sensor grid's a really nice, useful ability. Would have been nice to see this months ago when the cloak ships were dominating. Now that they're not around so much and the Borg ships are more of the threat, it's not as useful, but still nice. For 5 points as an action, you can discard this card and target a friendly ship within range 1 to 3 of your ship. You get a scan token and an auxiliary power token. The other ship gets a scan token and an auxiliary power token. And then every cloaked enemy ship within range 1 to 2 of your ship must immediately flip its cloak to its red side. In the very least, it makes them all uncloaked, so even if they spend their action cloaking next turn, now you can get target locks. So definitely useful, especially if you're living in a cloak-heavy environment. As with the Borg expansions, these come with one of these cool additional rules cards. This time it's not for new special rules, it's for the fact that someone in their infinite wisdom forgot to put Vulcans in the rulebook. So the Vulcan faction is actually farther down than I thought. I would have figured it would have fell in between Federation and Klingon, or at least up there with the Romulans. But for some reason they dropped them way down below the Ferengi even. So not sure about that. Kind of sucks to be a Vulcan faction-wise for initiative. Something that should have been in the original rulebook. I find it funny that they included Ferengi, which was an OP prize ship, and not Vulcans, which are actually retail available ships. Go figure. As for the rest of the things that come with the expansion here, we have Target Lock NN this time. Lots of tokens. We have 2 disable tokens for various things. Get 2 auxiliary power tokens, one for you, one for whoever you use sensor grid on. Got 2 scan tokens, one for you, one for whoever you use sensor grid on. Got a battle stations token and a evasive maneuver token. 4 shields, which I still think seems really light for a science ship. And interesting mission this time around. From the era of Enterprise with the NX-01, it involves you're being attacked by Suliban, and you're basically just trying to escape. And it comes with 8 of these Suliban cell ship tokens to use for the scenario. There we have a look at the model. It's got a decent amount of detail in it, just not in the paint. They kind of made it all one color. And there on the back you can see that science module. This is the HeroClick model. Oddly enough, they actually did a better job painting this one, but it's orange instead of red. But you can see there that the module is right side up. Then we have a look at our base for the named. See that 180 degree arc in the front, that 90 degree in the back. And there's our generic. All it's a pretty decent ship, limited by the fact that there's only one currently available Vulcan ship. We know there's more coming. Month 1 of the board collective has a prize ship that's another Vulcan ship that has a lot of cool cards that work well with these. But for now, it can stand alone. Good support ship for Federation. Decent maneuverability, which is something the Federation lacks in most of their ships. And some very interesting abilities. I wish it was a little stronger as far as the science ship goes. More shielding, more special abilities like the sensor grid is kind of cool. I didn't expect it to have a lot of offense, so the 3 attack, 4 attack that it can get, I'm really not that surprised by. And the cool special ability that when you're attacking at range 3 you get the bonus is kind of nice. Anyway, it's a decent ship. Can't wait to give it a try, and can't wait for some more Vulcan ships to come out to make them a viable faction pure team as well.